Van Oordt, known as Moose.
Call me Moose.
How many freaking shirts do you have?
How relevant is that question, Coach?
Moose is originally a rower.
Rower.
I used to row crew in university
Okay.
back in the 80s. Done a gazillion different sports. Everything from judo to horseback riding to you name it. Tried out everything.
Horseback riding. That just came out of there, like judo to horseback riding.
So Marc, our
I
guest.
tried a lot of stuff.
So he's into triathlon, he's into Ironmans, he's into Epiq, Extreme Triathlon, which we'll talk about in a second,
Yeah.
rowing, and horseback riding.
What happened was that I had qualified for the World Championships, the ITU World Championships in the Netherlands, in my home country.
Crazy.
It was awesome.
I mean, the route that you chose,
Yeah.
it was nuts. It was
And by the way, spoiler, Epiq is still nothing fancy because that's part of who we are. It's back to basics, back to the roots, kind of the fun of the sport, being out in nature. So imagine this. On the sports level, there's this one race that I want to do if I can get healthy again because I'm going from one injury to the other. You know what I do.
I don't know.
You don't know?
No.
I want to.
People don't see that part. They see the day of, but they don't see the whole behind the scenes kind of thing.
HUP.
Hip.
Hip.
Holland.
Holland.
Hip.
Hip.
Hip. Holland. Good day, folks, and welcome to the Brik. I'm Dominic Double D Deschênes, and I'm with Coach Pierre. Oh, sorry. No, Coach. Hey, we have a special.
I switched.
Good day, Coach.
Yeah, we got our first special guest.
Hey, we do.
Yeah.
Marc, welcome.
Hello,
How are you?
guys? How are you? It's good to see you.
Marc Van Oordt.
Known as Moose.
Call me Moose.
Where did that come from, by the way? Where did that nickname come from? Yeah, I know it came from there.
That's from the coach.
And why Moose?
I can explain it.
Please,
I can explain
please
it.
do.
So until I met Coach, I was known as simply Moo. M-O-O.
Oh,
Because my name
so
is
there you
Marc
go.
Van Oordt with two O's.
Yes.
So at work, it was always Moo. And everybody knows me as Moo. My colleagues know me as Moo. My friends know me as Moo. Everybody calls me Moo. And then first training, meet this guy here. And
Lucky
like,
you. Well, I don't know if you're lucky, but I feel sorry.
Training. It wasn't even the first official training. It was the meet the oranges.
And how long ago was that? How long ago was that first meetup between you
7,
guys?
8 years now?
No, not that much.
Yeah, 6 or 7 years.
Really?
It's about 7 years.
Wow. Before we were Club Orange only?
It was, Club Orange, first year of Club Orange.
Okay, so that was 6 years ago.
6 years ago.
Yeah.
There you
Wow.
go. Yeah. So
Okay.
we have this little tryout training and get to know each other, meet each other. And I explained, my name is Marc Van Oordt, Moo. He's like, Moo's a shit name. You're Moose. That's exactly what it was.
Yeah, Moo.
Love
Moo,
it.
Moo in
Moo.
French is like is
It's,
weak.
no,
Not weak,
weak.
but
Molasse,
Yeah,
I know what you
yeah.
mean.
You know, so I said,
not too convincing.
Moo's not really not good at all.
Yeah.
So I'll say Moose, and it stuck.
It stuck.
It did.
In the triathlon world.
And we're
I'm
in
Moose.
Canada,
Yeah.
and moose, they're all
works.
over the place. It does on our quarter, right? We have
Yeah.
a moose on our quarter on
Yeah.
top of it.
And a loony. Am I
So-
a loon or a moose?
Well, you decide. You decide if you want the queen or not. I
love it.
To be with you.
I love it.
Marc, thank you for accepting the invite. Welcome to the Brik.
Super happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Marc, before we start, I'd like our listeners or watchers to get to know you a bit more. So, have you noticed? I'll pause you for a second, Marc.
Man, another one.
They-
Like, how many freaking shirts do you have?
How relevant is that question, Coach?
Well, there's 30 baseball teams, 32 baseball teams.
Okay, continue. I'm sure there's a purpose
Do
to
you
what
have
you're saying. right?
30 shirts?
Okay, so moving along with our guest today, Marc Van Oordt, known as Moose.
Wow.
So, by the way, San Diego,
San Diego.
the Padres. This is the most family-oriented ballpark I've ever seen. So if you want to go there with your kids, go. It's
Really?
fun. It's built for families. It's amazing. You'll have a great experience. It's 45 minutes away from LA. So you drive down, go to San Diego, take Highway 405. I believe that's what it is. And you know what? You'll have a great time.
It's actually near the zoo.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The fabulous, worldwide known San Diego Zoo, of course.
That whole part, I was in La Jolla
Yep.
for vacation,
Yep.
which is maybe 10 minutes away, maybe 15
It
minutes
is
away.
like that.
And
the
we went
coast.
to downtown San Diego, and
Yes.
this is the first time I used the scooters, the electric scooters. But then they were just throwing them anywhere. There's scooters in the middle of the freaking road, like they're in the park, whatever. And me and my wife used the scooters. It was a lot of fun, but we went near the stadium, and there's like an old thing, San Diego, near the zoo. It's kind of like this got old merchants, Mexico.
It does, of course, huge Mexican influence, right?
Yeah.
Because Tatiana, which is that city south of the border, is like
clean,
half an hour.
Very clean city.
Yep.
I didn't go to the park though.
So, Marc, just want to let you know, there's a mute, if you wish to mute Coach Pierre, there's a mute button available on your mic, right? So feel free at any given time to mute Coach.
So it's a great ballpark, but you still have to watch a game.
Well, which is the fun part.
Is it? Is it though?
Oh, man, where are we going with this podcast? So, Marc, tell us about yourself. I'd like our listeners to get to know you. So tell us about you.
Where do you want me to start?
Start with you as an athlete. You're part of Club Orange, of course. You've been training together for some time. So, tell us about your background, where you've been, what you've done, the sports you've been practicing over the years. Who's Marc Van Oordt? Who's Moose?
Moose is originally a rower.
A rower.
I used to row crew in university back in the 80s.
Competitive rowing?
Yeah, competitive rowing.
Okay.
Like high level, national level rowing.
National meaning?
In the Netherlands, national competitions.
Very nice. Yeah. Very nice.
And so that's where I started really investing myself into a sport.
Okay.
Before that, I'd done a gazillion different sports, from everything from judo to horseback riding to you name it. Tried out everything.
Horseback riding. That just came out of there, like judo to horseback riding.
So Marc, our guest,
tried a lot of stuff.
So he's into triathlon, he's into Ironmans, he's into Epiq, Extreme Triathlon, which we'll talk about in a second, rowing, and horseback riding.
Not so much into horseback riding anymore. Anyway.
Wow.
So rowing transitioned into running.
Yep.
And then running, I ran through the 90s. And then in the 2000s, mid-2000s, I saw those reports about this big competition in Hawaii about swimming, biking, running.
That sounds like déjà vu, right?
It seems very interesting, right?
Okay.
So I figured, let's try that. So I decided to start triathlon. And I did. So I trained, couldn't swim, still can't swim.
Mid-2000,
2006.
2006, okay.
2006.
Okay.
First triathlon, first season. Started off with a sprint.
Yeah.
Ended off the season with an Olympic distance. That was it for that year. I think I did that for a couple of years, and then I moved on to half distance. Done a gazillion of those. And eventually I ended up doing a full distance.
Which one?
My own.
Your own.
My own.
I remember that.
That's
you were on CBC even for a documentary.
It was a brief blurb.
Yeah. I remember that during COVID, right?
It was exactly during COVID, because what happened was that I had qualified for the World Championships, the ITU World Championships in the Netherlands, in my home country. I was going to do my first full event in Amsterdam, in my home country, coming from Canada, representing Canada. So it was just full circle. It was perfect. It was absolutely perfect. And then COVID hit. So that was going to be in 2020. So that killed that dream. Moved on a year. We'll push it to 2021. 2021 still wasn't sure. I don't know if you guys remember. Can we travel? Can we not travel?
Oh, it was.
I'd like to not remember
exactly.
It was week by week. We didn't know what to expect the following week.
And so this competition was going to be in September of 21. Actually, September of 20. It got postponed. September of 21. Yep. Wasn't sure if it was going to happen. Yes, no. And then spring came. I'm like, you know what? Forget about it. I'm just going to do this by myself. So I decided to do the full distance in my backyard.
And that was in 2021.
That was in 2021. Yeah. So I did fully autonomous with a lot of friends that actually helped me out. So I had a lot of good friends. And I did the full distance. It was a full day. It was a very, very long day in the office.
It was crazy.
It was awesome.
I mean, the route that you chose.
Yeah.
It was nuts. It was completely nuts.
Was it?
Yeah, because I prepared him for it, but he did the swim, which was in the lake, which is fine.
It was a bit choppy, but it was okay.
The bike was something, and the run was absolutely crazy.
Was it?
It was crazy. It was the hardest marathon I've ever seen in any race. I mean, Mégan Sick is nothing. I'm telling you, it was nothing.
Which is
compared to
Canada
that
Man,
thing.
where Canada Man is hosted,
It was
right?
he was always going up a hill. It felt like he was never going down anything. It was completely nuts.
Love it.
And
Love
you did it.
Love
you did
Marc.
it in like
14
hours, and he was so
hours.
upset. He was like, "Oh, it sucks." And then when you look at the positive ascension, it was crazy. It was crazy hard.
Have you ever done that? Organize your own event, your own personal event?
Oh, yeah.
Let's say I'm going to get up one day and do a
Sure.
whatever, half
Plenty
distance,
of times
full
because
distance.
I started doing triathlons when there was no triathlons.
Yeah, nothing existed back
So
then.
you did your own stuff.
That was in
All the time.
1951 when you did your first triathlon.
49, just after the Second World War.
Thank you. I lost my train of thought. Thank you, Coach. Thank you, Coach.
So the fun thing is that
Yes.
so this
Thanks,
sort of
Marc, for
one
bringing
thing-
us back on
one
track.
thing led to the other, right? So
Yeah.
the finish of
Yeah.
that race that day was on top of Mount Owl's Head,
Wow.
which is in the Potton area, which is if
Eastern
you-
Township in
Eastern
Quebec, yeah.
Township,
Very
south of
nice
Quebec,
area, yeah.
just south of Magog. And the reason I was upset was I wanted to be there before sundown. I wanted to witness sundown on top of the mountain.
Yeah.
That didn't happen.
No, you finished in the black.
I finished in the darn black,
Yeah.
pitch black.
Pitch
It
black.
was windy. I had a friend on top of the mountain who was waiting for
So,
me.
so what have you learned from this experience? What did you take away that I'm sure eventually influenced the creation of the Epiq
Absolutely.
triathlon? But what did you take away from it?
That with a little help of your friends, you
Okay.
can do anything you want.
So you need to be surrounded by great people.
I didn't
Yeah.
initially. I'm kind of the guy. I train with a club, but I train by myself. So even with club trainings, I'm always doing my own little thing. I run in the group, but I'm not that chatty. I'm not that chatterbox that just goes on and on and on, right? And on the bike, same thing. I like to be on front or in the back, not in the middle of the pack. And so when I set out to do this challenge for myself, I thought, you know what? I want to do this all by myself. My wife always tells me, Marc, you should ask for help a little more. You really should. But then people started tagging on, like, hey, can I help you with
jump
the bike?
in and-
Can I help you with this?
Sure.
Can I be your pacer on the run?
Yeah.
I didn't even know what a pacer was, but I found out that it was very, very helpful to have a pacer.
It's completely necessary,
It
especially when you're
was.
finishing off
Totally. Yeah.
going up a
Oh, I
600
can imagine,
meter
my God.
Yeah.
ascension
And
hill.
people are not necessarily trained to the same level as you, right? So obviously it's a challenge. They need to break it down. They won't do the full thing with you, but still.
Absolutely, yeah. So
So-
that's what I learned. I learned that you can, if you have enough training, good preparation, and some good people that just help you out, there's not.
So
much
how
you
many
can't do.
people, ballpark figure, that were there to support you
The whole
to
crew
do
was
that
probably
event?
half a dozen and
Wow.
a couple.
Wow.
There were 6 of us on the bike.
Okay.
But being the stubborn SOB that I am, no drafting, right?
Of course.
On a triathlon. So I told him, stay 12 bikes ahead of me or
Oh, my
12
God.
bikes
Yeah.
in the
Well,
back or
thanks for
whatever.
coming, by the way. I won't be talking to you
So
at
we
all
were,
today, but thanks
they
for
were
coming.
chatting and on the bike, running
Yep,
around and
yep.
everything and having a lot of fun. I was just sitting there in the middle by myself.
So then
Yeah.
that probably triggered Epiq.
100%. 100%.
Okay.
Did
So-
you were thinking about doing the event before you did that event?
No.
No. Oh.
No, I had no
wow.
idea.
Okay.
Well, that's not exactly true. Let me put it this way. Some of you listening or seeing this might remember I did, if you're in the Club Orange, I did a few triathlons, just homegrown triathlons in that area, including a half actually.
Yeah, from your house.
From my house,
Yep.
from my old.
I remember
cottage. Yeah, and so that was a lot of fun, but that was always sort of club event, right? Small event, friends, family, nothing fancy. And by the way, spoiler: Epiq is still nothing fancy because that's part of who we are. It's a back to basics, back to the roots kind of event, like the fun of the sport, being out in nature. So imagine this: picture you're at the shore of a lake, and this is a beautiful lake. It's surrounded by mountains. It's surrounded by hills. The water is, I wouldn't say crystal clear, but it's nice. It's nice. It's nice water. And you get to swim there at the rise of the sun. At dawn, you're swimming. You get out. You walk up to your bike. You grab your bike from your rack, and now you're driving through the hills. And like Coach was saying, it's hills, right? There's no flat area whatsoever.
So what's
it's
the
up and
positive
down,
height
up and down.
total in Epiq?
On the long distance epics, which actually have half distance.
Yes.
It's 1,800 meters. Of
Wow.
D
Wow.
plus.
Yeah, but 1,800 meters only on the
On the gravel, on the 19K of
only
gravel.
on the bike.
Only on the bike.
Now, if you look at Lake Placid, Lake
Yep.
Placid is 1,100.
Yep.
So you have another 700 meters. It's
And that's gravel
it's
bike.
yeah,
It's not road bike.
It's 80% more positive ascension on that 90-kilometer bike.
Yeah.
And what's the ascension on the run?
680 meters.
Oh my God! I was complaining a few weeks back, Coach, about my 300 meters
Yeah.
in LA, right?
Yeah.
600, and it's
680
trail running,
meters.
and it's
And
trail
that's
running,
only
trail
for
running.
21 kilometers.
and that's only for.
Yeah. Of which,
Mine was
of which the last
442.
400 are on 3.5 kilometers. So that's
Oh my God!
you can't run the last part.
So, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, so we're into our third edition. We had 2 editions. First
That's what I was going to
edition,
ask you. Tell us more. Epiq.
We had 30 participants,
Yep.
of whom 1 professional triathlete, who actually a local professional triathlete, who ended up winning, but not with that big of a distance. But even he couldn't run the whole course. He tried, but he couldn't run the whole course. There was a little bit
Wow.
of walking involved there. Yeah.
Wow.
So when you're asking me why is it called Extreme, well, that's why it's called Extreme. It's not for the faint of heart. Half distance. The second edition, which was last year, we had close to 100 participants. We added a distance. We added a short course distance, which was fun.
which wasn't short.
Well, it was
short, but
between
as
sprint
difficult.
and Olympic.
Yeah, but it was like a 3-hour and 3.5-hour workout.
Push harder.
Because, if you look at a sprint triathlon,
Yeah.
sprint triathlon is between,
it's like an hour
for
and
super fast
10,
people, an hour, and then, the
An hour
slower
and
people,
30
an hour
minutes.
and a
Yeah.
half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when somebody says, I'm doing the sprint at Epiq, oh, well,
You're in for 3 hours.
You're there for 3 hours at least.
And it was fun because some people hadn't read the fine print necessarily.
No,
So
okay.
They had a
See,
rough
they had a
day.
bit of a
They had a
surprise
bit of
when
a
they
rough
got there.
day, yeah.
So, Marc, tell me about this mission of yours. Like, Epiq is you mentioned it, it's very representative of the value of the event. So what's that mission? You do have a partnership with a local charity, I believe, in the Eastern Township area as well. So
Yeah.
I find this quite interesting.
The thing really grew out of my personal love for that area.
Okay.
It's just a beautiful natural environment.
It really is. It really is. If
really,
you have the
really
chance,
is
folks,
beautiful.
I've never been out there. Eastern Township, whether if you're in the Montreal, Greater Montreal, I'm sure you've been there. But if you're from another country and you visit Montreal, make sure you save some time to visit Eastern Township. And Owlshead is.
And I'm not biased at all.
No. And even the golf course, Coach, Owlshead.
Except for the 18th hole. That green is nuts. That green is nuts. I mean, you're putting from down there, and it goes up and up and up 3. I mean, it's nuts. I go crazy about that golf course.
It's a
Just
crazy
the
golf
18th
It goes
hole.
up and up and up because nothing's flat.
No, but the
Even
scenery is
crazy. What a green.
amazing throughout the course. The scenery is
Yeah.
is amazing.
Well,
It's
if you go
amazing.
in your race this year is going to be end of September, so the
Yep.
color is going to be out.
Colors should be out. Yeah.
Well, like it was last year, yeah.
So
Yeah.
nature. Nature is number one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Number 2, no thrills. I have nothing against these large corporations that put up an amazing show, but to me, it's not about the essence of the sport. The essence of the sport is really trying to push your own boundaries and doing that in a natural environment. So it's a no thrills type of race. We really like it to be by the community for the community. So it's really a local event.
Yep.
But we had people come registered from France. The first edition, we had a guy who saw it online, and he's like, "Hey, I'm going to be in that area." He's from France, visiting friends here in Quebec, and he registered.
I'll give it a
was
try.
awesome. And
Did he finish the event? Did he finish it?
He finished. He
Oh,
finished.
yeah,
And he
okay.
said, "If I ever come back to
I'll
Quebec,
do it again.
I'll do it again if it's
Wow.
during my vacation." And we had people from the U.S. who actually joined.
Because you're near the border.
Because we're like 5
Half
miles
an
from
hour.
the border.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
really close. So in New York, Vermont, that whole area, you can just drive up and enjoy it. The partnership you were referring to, we are also a fundraiser. So we raise funds for the local volunteer center. So there's a volunteer center that helps out people in need, just trying to get people active, take care of the young, get the young out, take care of the elderly. And so that's sort of our, not sort of, that's our,
which is
that's
the
our social
why,
mission.
which is the why of the event, right? Which
That's
is the
why.
reason why you exist, is to help these people or kids or to get out there and be active and have an active life.
Active lifestyle in a beautiful, natural environment, and just providing opportunity to athletes of all levels. Because yes, it's extreme, but I think with enough preparation, maybe don't register for the half. But I think anybody with enough preparation can finish
at least the sprint version of it.
Yeah.
So I want to go back to you, Marc.
Sure.
Were you grown up here in Canada or back in the Netherlands?
No, I was born in the Netherlands, in Amsterdam, and I moved to Canada early 2000s.
And have you ever observed this type of event before, like in your native country, or?
I didn't really know what triathlon
was. Back then, no, you
so not exactly true. So
Okay.
we had fun story. I think it's funny. In that rowing crew I was talking about. So a row crew is 8 people, right?
Yep.
Plus the coxswain, who is the guy who's steering the boat. When we were doing the selections for our crew, there was this one guy, like super well built, like in shape, right?
Like
Like an average triathlete.
Okay, sure. There you go.
I was going to say like you, Dom, but this is a video podcast. So, and he's like, you think I could combine my rowing training with my triathlon training? And we had no idea what triathlon was. We had to look it up. So we're like, okay, what is triathlon? Oh, swimming, biking. Okay, yeah. So running, we run as rowing, as a rowing workout. We bike as rowing workouts
So
as
there you
well.
go. We could certainly swim.
So, but then we started adding up the hours because I said, I'm going to need to at least spend 10, 12 hours per week on my triathlon training on top of the rowing training. And that was like the deal breaker. It didn't work. So that was the first time I heard about triathlon. Didn't think back to that until that time when I was watching TV, fast forward 2006. So I didn't know much about triathlon. There are big triathlon. There's a big triathlon tradition in the Netherlands. And actually that race in Amsterdam is one of the oldest triathlons in Europe.
They're always in the top performing. I'm sure you would know.
Well,
right?
endurance sports
in general,
in Netherlands are huge.
Up there.
I mean, we know the Netherlands by speed skating.
Yeah, we do.
I mean, so that's number one.
Yeah.
But they're in everything. I mean, they do a lot of sports. They're great at cross-country running. They're great at road running.
So one day they'll get
we have a few good cyclists. Also.
Cyclists, swimmers.
One day
cyclists,
they'll
I mean,
get
it's crazy.
to
Actually,
baseball.
doping started
with
a team in the Netherlands. You heard about this. This whole team died. There's 8 out of 12 people died because of blood doping. Yeah, because it was a huge thing. Blood doping was a huge thing, and people their pulse during the evening would go so low they'd have to get up to train. And this started in the Scandinavian countries with the Netherlands. One of the number one teams, the first team to get caught with blood doping was a team that was majority from people from the Netherlands.
Well, we can't be only first at the good stuff, right? I guess.
And you know what? There's hope still, because I'm sure one day MLB, the Major League Baseball, will expand to Europe, and you may get to that level where you have a baseball team. So you know what? I'm sending you my
world
positive
champions.
thoughts. There you go.
San Diego world champions. I can't believe that baseball, they called their champions world champions. Why world?
Oh, do not get me started.
So I gotta get
football and basketball.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it's crazy.
So I got to get this conversation back on track. So Marc, back to you.
So sports traditions in the Netherlands.
Okay,
is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes,
Soccer.
Soccer. Yeah, of course.
Soccer,
of course.
yeah,
Of course.
absolutely.
I would like to know why they're called why they're always dressed in orange. When you look at the Netherlands flag, it's red, white, and blue.
Yeah.
The opposite of the French flag, which is French
then-
flag is
Just
vertical,
blue, white, and
and
red.
you guys are horizontal.
But they own a few islands in the Caribbean, and the main color over there is orange. Why is that? Is that the Dutch side that's orange? Is that it?
No, I'll tell you.
No,
I'll tell you.
no.
The reason
Okay.
is very simple. It's a historical fact.
Okay.
The Dutch royal family,
Yes.
their last name is of Orange Nassau, and that's the reason. So they're from Orange.
And that's it.
That's
nothing more
it's
complicated
as simple
than
as that. And
where
so
they're
if
from.
you look at the Dutch flags, it's red, white, and blue. And then on King's Day. It used to be Queen's Day. Now it's King's Day. They'll add this orange little banner on top of the flag. But that's why orange is considered the national Dutch color.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's why you joined Club Orange.
A fun fact.
You
It
felt-
is indeed. When I decided to get into triathlon, I did probably about, I guess if the math works out, about 10 years by myself, coaching myself.
Well, you told me 12 years before joining the club.
That's what I thought,
Yeah,
but 2006, so roughly something like that. And then I Googled triathlon club on the South Shore. 2 popped up. One was called Orange. I'm like, well, that's the one.
That's the one. There you go. I don't care.
There you go.
That's no brainer
That's
for
where
me.
I'm going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So back to Epiq,
Yeah.
Marc. So what are the different, like you do have multiple distances and categories available, right?
Yeah.
It's accessible to kids, to families as well. Is it, or
No.
it's too extreme? No. Okay.
No,
fair.
I wouldn't. I think we put 18 plus as
Okay.
just,
Well, if you don't
just
like
as
your
a
kids, enter them in that race.
Yeah, you still
If you
got to pretend you're 18 years old. But
No, if you want to calm them down or make sure they
Yeah.
experience what failure is about,
Yeah.
get them
Exactly.
registered to Epiq.
so triathlon,
Yep.
and this year we're introducing duathlon also.
Okay, very nice.
So 3 distances for triathlon.
Okay.
The half long distance, which is your standard 1.9, 90K, and the half
So
marathon.
swimming in the Memphremagog Lake
Swimming
in the Magog
majestic
area.
lake.
Oh, it's an
Memphremagog.
amazing lake.
Biking
90
on
well,
gravel.
by gravel biking, of
Yeah,
course,
it's like, I think it's over 90% gravel, the course
Wow.
that we have.
and trail running.
And then trail running, yeah,
Okay.
with that crazy ascent. Except the twister is that I ended my race on top, but I'm making our competitors come down. So not only do you have to go up,
But you
but
gotta
then
come
when
down.
your quads are really
Yeah,
hurting, now you
Then
have to go
that's when it
down
hurts
to the
when you go
finish.
down.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So that's the half. Then we've got the Ollie Plus, because the run, I believe, is a little bit long. No, it's the bike that's a little bit longer. It's 45 Ks instead of 40 on the Ollie, because it's basically half the half.
Half to half distance.
What's it called? Ollie?
Ollie.
Olympic plus.
Olympic.
Oh,
Olympic
okay,
plus?
okay.
Yeah.
Ollie. I was
Call it
gonna-
Ollie Plus, Olympic Plus. Trying to be fancy here.
Okay, that's cool.
That's the only
I like
thrill
that.
that we have.
Ollie plus.
Ollie Plus. Hey, why not?
And then the Sprint Plus
Yep.
is standard 750 meters, and then 26K bike, and the run 5.5 up and down.
Yep.
You still got to go up the hill.
And you still got to go up that hill.
I mean, that's the thing. You got to sprint. You go, and you look at the distance. You go, oh, I'll do that distance. It seems like easy and short until you start the run, and you go, like the 26K is not an easy course.
No.
The bike,
No,
it's not an easy course.
it's still got about
Yeah.
I don't know, a few hundred meters of positive ascension.
Wow.
But the walk or the run walk,
Yeah,
lap,
the walk.
you can walk it. If you just walk it up,
You can
it's
walk it.
45 minutes up.
Yeah,
Just walk.
Okay.
So that's the triathlon.
Yep.
We're also offering team events.
Yep.
So the half, and you heard it here almost first, the sprint, we're actually adding a team event for the sprint.
Oh, the relay. I was thinking
Relay,
of
yeah.
doing the relay. There was Eric Drien told me, he said, "Oh,
Yeah.
would you want to do a relay with me?" And I said, "Well, okay, why not?" And
That's because
we're
Eric tried the half the first year,
okay.
and he didn't quite finish the bike.
No,
Nope.
I mean, come on.
If you're watching this, Eric, I love you, man.
So
But I looked at the sprint and I says, "Oh, that's my thing," because I organized in man, it was a long time ago, 2008 or 2009. It was called the Mudman, and it was a swim in a lake. It was mountain biking, and it was about a 5K run, and it lasted at least 2.5 to 3 hours. But the triathletes hated it. They hated it because of the mountain biking. And it was the gravel bike didn't exist at that time. So it was the mountain biking. And as soon as they, started getting into mud and roots and stuff like
they
that,
weren't in control
just hated
anymore.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was challenging.
So that must be one of your challenges because it's not a natural. People think triathlon,
Yeah.
but it's not a natural fit from a triathlete who is used to being on the road.
Doesn't mean because you do triathlons like
Yeah.
Ironman's, to name that big corporation, but it doesn't mean that you're going to be ready to do.
So what's the
you're gonna be
challenge for
successful.
you to bring a triathlete, a road triathlete, towards the
gravel bike.
natural gravel bike stuff? It's less and less of a challenge, and I'll tell you why. We all know Frodeno.
Mm-hmm.
Frodeno started one of his own gravel tries,
Yep.
the Esquirrel back in Italy or Spain. I don't know. But he's one of the many trendsetters that have started cross-training, because there's no better training for road biking than gravel biking. And so I'm seeing a lot of
And why is that?
triathletes, because you're not stuck in traffic. So you can really focus on your energy. You're pushing watts, and a lot of them, because obviously it's a little bit more challenging.
Mm-hmm.
But you're still working out your full cycling experience. And I'm not a coach, so we'll validate this by the coach here.
Yeah.
But it's easily transposable onto road biking. So from my personal experience and from what I've heard is that if you insert gravel biking into your training, it's a really good workout for actual road biking.
Cool.
And so I'm seeing more and more triathletes actually do road biking. And the same thing goes for trail running versus asphalt running.
Okay.
I think one of the things is that road biking has become dangerous.
Yeah.
And where you're with trucks and people who don't like you.
No, I agree.
They don't want you to be there.
Yeah.
Some people are super nice and they go on the other side of the road, and some people, they just want to run you off. There's a security thing now. People are getting older. They're cycling at an older age, and you have a little bit more fear. Whereas gravel bike, you don't get any of that.
So you don't get the distractions from outside.
You're in nature. The only thing I can see is that you have to buy another bike.
Do you really? Do you really?
N+1.
Okay, but
No, you don't. You don't really. So the purist, yes. The purist will say, I've got my road bike, and I got my gravel bike, I got my mountain bike, got my disc bike, got my dat bike, my climbing bike, my flat bike, my triathlon bike.
my trainer bike.
My bike, whatever bike, right? But you could get away with having a good endurance bike and having 2 wheel sets. And just having a road set for wheel.
As long as the frame can accommodate the larger wheel
which
set.
is what.
Yeah.
So having a good endurance frame.
Yep.
Like a hybrid bike that could do both.
Yeah, so it's an endurance frame, which means it's a little bit less aggressive than your standard road bike. It's a little bit sturdier, but you could put some road wheels on it and have a second set of gravel wheels, and you're good to go.
Okay, that's interesting, because I see that as an obstacle. Because you've just entered triathlon and you've bought your new bike, and all of a sudden you got to go, oh, what do I do?
And you got to spend another 4 or 5K for,
So you think that because gravel bike is becoming more popular, is going to be less and less of an obstacle to have people transfer from, traditional triathlon to that kind of triathlon?
I think so. Yeah. I don't think it's going to be a mass sport like triathlon is. I think it's still going to be some level of niche.
Yeah, but I like that about that. I mean, I started triathlon because nobody was doing it.
Yeah.
So it was really interesting to start something that was very new. I'm kind of like an outlier. I'll try stuff that never been done before.
Yeah. Yep.
So I really like the fact that this exists and that not very many people are doing it. I guess it's the time to start if you're that kind of person. If you're waiting for it to be as popular as a 70.3, it'll never get there. No. Because there's a logistical thing about putting people into the woods. You can't have 1,500 people doing that stuff.
No, you kill the woods.
No. You kill the woods.
Exactly.
You have a limit of amount of people you take?
Yeah, we do. So this year we opened up a few more distances, so we have a little bit more capacity than last year, but I think we'll be maxed out this year.
Okay.
So we'll max out around 150 participants, most likely.
Are you aware of any similar events that exist? Like in North America, similar to yours?
So
Xterra is a little
Xterra
bit.
I was going to talk about
Xterra.
Xterra. Xterra offers 2 options. So Xterra offers the full, or traditional, I should say, Xterra option, which is mountain biking.
Yeah.
Not the same as gravel biking.
I see.
But the Xterra series in Quebec now have also added the gravel bike on, I think, some, if not all of their...
Because they've understood that the popular choice is now gravel bike. It's not mountain bike. And that was the problem with the Mudman we had.
Okay.
Because mountain biking has this skill that if you don't have that skill, you're going to fall.
It's going to work.
I mean, it's terrible.
You're going to fail.
You're going to kill yourself. You need skill.
Yep.
Yeah.
But gravel biking, I mean, if you're a cyclist, you'll be able to do it, and it's not extreme as far as the terrain. Sometimes you have to get off your bike. Sometimes.
In our gravel, not on our course. And
Oh, no?
so
Okay.
no, our course
Okay.
is pretty average gravel. So
User friendly.
user friendly.
Okay.
The hardcore gravelers will find our course not gravelish enough.
Yeah. What I noticed
have
with
a-
that event, I went last year as a volunteer. I was on the kayak. The first thing I noticed was the extreme transition from the swim to the bike. I mean, it was. I am a person who've organized stuff.
I
before,
remember that. Yeah.
and I was going down the hill from the transition area all the way down to the water, and going. Oh, and the whole time I'm looking at people like they're wide eyed and they're about to do their swim. And I goes, you guys are screwed. The whole time I'm going, this is so amazing. Wow.
Because coming out of the water, I have to go
I mean, you
All the way up
back.
to the
This
transition
800
area.
meter. Am I wrong?
No. It's
600
463 meters.
Okay, so
Less than 500.
that was a
Less
length.
than 500.
But
less
just
than
the
5.
ascension was what? 100 meters?
Close, probably.
100 meters like on 400
Oh
meters.
my
I mean, it
God.
was crazy.
No, yeah,
it
I
was
remember that.
crazy.
I was there last
It was
year. I
crazy.
saw
So
it
when you
as
get
well,
out
yeah.
of the swim, your heart rate is already up. And
So you're warmed
And
up.
then you get to transition.
yeah, you're warmed up.
You're warmed up, which is great.
It was
Because
nuts.
one of the concerns that you might have, triathlon late in the season, cold water,
Yep,
can
yep.
we swim, can we not swim,
Yeah,
can
that-
we
the-
bike,
the-
can we not bike? People are concerned about hypothermia
Of
on the bike,
course,
but
of course.
you don't have to because coming up that hill, you're warm when you're getting on the bike.
Hyperthermia is completely overrated. Now, people have to get over hypothermia. No, really. I mean, first of all, you got
You're
a
allowed
wetsuit.
to use that mute button.
First of all, you got a wetsuit. People do the Norseman and don't get hypothermia in the water. The water is at 11 degrees, and you
Wow.
have a wetsuit. You have this neoprene hat.
Yep.
I mean, and even at the end of September, the water will never be that cold.
No, the
What
water's
was
okay.
it? What was
The water's
it
not
last
the
year?
The
problem.
water's not a problem.
No,
the
water's not
problem
a
is
problem. It's
after.
the-
So
the-
you have to
the-
dress
yeah, it's the
properly.
air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the problem is you get out of the water, you're
Yep.
actually warm, and you get to the bike and you don't dress for the occasion.
Properly.
Yeah.
You don't dress properly. You need a windbreaker and stuff like that. That's where the hyperthermia can come in. Has nothing to do with the water. The water is not a problem, especially with wetsuits. I mean, I've coached people that crossed lakes and they was like 12 degrees without a wetsuit.
So there you go.
So I'm not impressed.
What was the water temperature last year at your event?
Oh, it was warm.
18, 19.
Last year was
Oh
warm.
my God!
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Wow.
last year
Which
was warm. It
translates
was a
to
warm.
close to
It was a
70
warm
degrees
day.
Fahrenheit, right?
Yeah. What they had was waves.
So the first year
It was a little
cold,
bit choppy.
No waves.
Yeah,
Last year,
and last year
waves.
was so you get
Yeah.
and this year you may get
This
both.
way we'll
never
never know.
Beautiful, flat, warm water.
Yeah.
There
But
you
early
go.
in the morning, it's really rare to get waves because on a lake, the only thing that can produce waves is wind.
Yep.
And usually in the morning, early morning, you don't have wind. And it was kind of exceptional.
Yeah.
So I don't think they'll have that this year.
Mark,
I think we'll be okay.
next question. Go ahead. Sure.
Oh, there's
Go ahead.
one more thing. I don't know if
go
you
ahead.
wanted, if that's where we were going, because we were talking about 500 people on a mountain, you'll kill the mountain. Eco responsibility, super important for us. So,
Which, by the way, your event is qualified as eco-responsible. It's been bronze certified as well. So tell us a little bit more about this.
so we work in super close relationship with our local federation, Triathlon
Yep.
Quebec, on two levels. Number one, shameless plug, but we are part of the Coupe Quebec for cross triathlons. So together with the Xterra events, we're one big competition.
Oh, okay.
You get
I didn't
points.
know that.
Very nice.
And you get points, and whoever is best overall wins whatever they win. The other thing, and I think this is even more important, is that Triathlon Quebec has been promoting eco-responsibility for events. And so events can get qualified, bronze, silver, gold. There's different levels. And so the things I have to do is just the obvious stuff. No paper cups, no styrofoam cups, no trying to reduce waste, making sure that your food containers are recyclable.
Oh, okay. Instead of like having a styrofoam bowl with a chili in it or something like
Exactly.
that.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So
Okay, I get it.
we'll have biodegradable bowls.
Okay.
So
that kind
after
of stuff.
2 years of existence, you've achieved that bronze
We were bronze
certification.
last year, and we're trying
Wow.
to go for silver this year because it's really
Very
important to us.
nice.
When I
So-
said back to the roots, the
so-
essence, beautiful environment,
Yeah.
to me that is part of it. So we also source locally as much as possible. there's an organizing committee now. The first year I did most of it by myself with a couple of friends, but there's now a team behind us. Still friends, super enthusiastic. We don't meet physically if we don't have to because we're in different areas.
Place,
so a lot of it is through web conferencing.
Okay.
Yep. So that's the kind of thing.
So what do you need to do to achieve silver? Just as a curiosity.
Yeah, what's the step? What's the level?
Yeah, what's the next? What are you missing?
I just need to be
No more
be
toilet paper, bathroom tissues in the bathrooms. Maybe that's
No wetsuits.
no wetsuit.
No swimming with wetsuits.
Promote a little. Don't listen to him. I think it's a little bit more about promotion, a little bit more about the mute button, right?
Yes, there you go.
There's a couple of additional options around the kind of food that we serve.
Okay, I see.
There's like 6-7 different categories. Signage that we have to put up. Last year we did have the recycling bins, but it wasn't super clear where they were, so we have to put them in better view.
Okay.
So it's just fine-tuning a couple of things.
Very nice.
Yep.
Well, congrats. Achieving
Thanks.
that after a year, like 2 years of existence, that's amazing. It was the first
It's
year,
important.
right? Yeah, it is.
Honestly,
Supports
it
your
wasn't that
mission as
hard
well.
because a lot of the things that they're asking were already part of our values, so it came
Okay.
natural to us.
Very
Okay.
nice. Next question has two folds for you,
Yes,
Marc.
sir.
One is you, and the other one is Epiq.
Yep.
Where do you see yourself being in 3 to 5 years from now? Where do you see Triathlon Epiq being in 3 to 5 years from now? Start with Marc. What would you like if you look back in 3 years? Say, what have I done? Oh, okay, I'm quite pleased with my progress, my achievements as an individual, as an athlete.
As an individual, on my professional life, we're not going to go there. Not enough time, but things are going pretty good. I'm happy where I am.
Yep.
I hope I'm still where I am 5 years from now. On a personal level, I'm still with my wife of 25 years now, and hopefully a few more.
Congratulations.
So we're
Congrats.
adding that on.
Have you received the invite to his wedding 25th anniversary?
You know what? Me and Lynn are really fantastic at weddings, and
Yeah.
nobody invites us.
So there you
It
go.
really sucks.
Yeah, if you're looking
We'll do it
for
again
like
next
wedding.
year, and we'll invite you.
If you're having a wedding, invite us. We're amazing. Like, we're a lot of fun.
Hello.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's okay, too.
Keep going.
All right. I want to get a little bit closer to my boys. We have 3 boys together.
Okay.
They're growing. 2 have left the house, and I think we're at the age where we need to keep connecting. So that's going to take a little bit of more effort from me.
You can hire them. That's what I did. I hired my boy so we could see each other more.
I might, but all 3 of them have 2 of them have pretty good careers, and the third
Just
one-
pay them more than what they're getting now.
It's that easy.
But coach,
No, but
and plus
as-
1.
And plus one.
And on the sports level, there's this one race that I want to do if I can get healthy again, because I'm going from one injury to the other. You know what?
I don't know.
You don't know?
No.
I want to do Canada, man.
Oh, Canada Man.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
I paced one of our club members, Lynn,
Yep.
in Canada Man a few years back,
Very nice.
and it's a race that I would really like to complete. But right now, I'm not in a shape to do it. So
Okay.
5 years
plus,
from now,
and plus
hopefully.
this year is only a week after your event.
That too, yeah.
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 Well, that's
And then-
interesting. That's
so
a nice.
that's from-
yeah,
on a
for you
personal
personally,
level,
very
that's
nice.
it.
And what about Epiq?
For Epiq, I'd like it to be what do you call it? Stable,
Yeah.
like a
Like operationalized, to use a business term, operationalized. They're running.
Yeah, no, that's not the word I was
No?
looking for. I can't
Okay.
find the word. But basically, I want it to be a known race, a reference
Okay.
race, something that people look forward to.
I see.
But I still wanted to have that grassroots feel that it has. That's the feedback that we're getting from the athletes that competing is like, man, this is so much fun, and it's so real, right? It's a real event. And I want to keep it at a scale where we can have that personal feeling,
That
touch.
local touch.
Yeah. And still provide an amazing experience to the athletes.
Yeah.
Do you see yourself exporting this concept to anywhere in the world, on this planet, on this earth? Like having an area similar to where you're hosting Triathlon Epiq.
Yeah, why not? We've had chats about this. So first off, we're a non-for-profit.
Yeah.
I don't think I mentioned that, but there's no money involved for me personally or us who
Yeah,
are
you give it back
organizing
to that
It all
nonprofit
goes
organization.
back to that charity.
Sure.
So what
Yeah.
I did think about was, why not find some spots that have similar natural beauty.
Layouts and
Have a community that deserves some kind of contribution, and just combine that and say, hey, why don't we do this in East Quebec, North Quebec, Ontario, BC, whatever. Like, I that would be cool.
All you have to have is a lake and a hill.
A lake and a hill and a bunch of gravel.
Yeah, a lake and a hill, and I mean,
and a couple of nutcases who actually want to make it happen.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a lot simpler than we think to think of an event. The organization obviously is a lot, because it's, I organized events for a long time.
Yeah, you've been involved with
but it's between 200 and 3 hours, 200 and 300 hours of preparation. All right, so that's if only a couple of people organize it.
I wish you told me that when I asked you about this.
I told you that. I said it's 200 to 300 hours.
I didn't hear that part.
There's a lot of stuff, but obviously the more it gets known, the more you repeat.
The more people you attract, and
then the easier it gets.
Yeah, of
course.
But
it is a lot of commitment for an organization, and people don't see that part. They see the day of, but they don't see the whole behind the scenes kind of thing. And I mean, just an example, I was doing the kayak thing, and then after that, I had to take the freaking buoys out. All right, now the buoys are tied to cords. Now, one of the cords was 200 feet deep.
Oh my God! Because of that,
and there's these weights on the end so that the buoy doesn't move.
Yep.
And we're 3 guys on this canoe kind of thing, trying to take. I mean, all their hands ripped up and all that.
Of course.
So that's the kind of thing that happened after the event. So the event is still going on, and we're taking the buoys out.
The behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes. Yeah. So you don't look at. I mean, when your event, you did the blue carpet.
Yeah.
From the bottom of the
I remember
lake.
You and I measuring that at the Magog.
I knew what that blue carpet involved.
Yes.
And I said, he should scrap that blue carpet, because that's going to be a whole shitload of organization after the event. It sucks. It sucks to take that stuff off. So, if you don't have a team, it takes forever. Yeah. So I looked at the blue carpet, and automatically, because I had organized stuff before, I says, oh my God, never would I have done that blue carpet. And plus people were going up the hill, and the blue carpet almost didn't mean anything, because they were still hurting. Their feet were still hurting.
I know. We're still debating if we're
it looked beautiful.
Visually,
it looked beautiful.
It's amazing. It does.
Yeah.
It does.
Beauty,
it does.
yeah.
It looks
I
great.
mean, the 70-point free in Tremblant, they had
the red carpet.
Well, no, but they had the planes go over.
Oh, yeah.
So in the first year they had 2 planes, second year they had 1 plane, and the last year they had like a helicopter. And
they didn't have a race.
And people
they didn't have a race.
Wasn't
it smoked out?
No. Oh yeah, you're
right.
right.
No, that's right.
So
there was
the
no
year
race,
before they had a helicopter, but people were like going, "Oh, that sucks, just a helicopter." Do you know what it takes to have something fly over your triathlon? And that's why, like, if
people
you can,
don't realize
if you can see go as a volunteer for an event, only for the day, and you'll understand something.
The complexity of organizing.
Go into the organization of event, and you'll understand a whole bunch of stuff. And you'll appreciate the event.
Yeah, I agree.
And we appreciate our volunteers.
Yeah.
You do.
So much.
And you know what?
So
I was one of them last year, and I forced to admit that absolutely you take time, you recognize, you appreciate them. And it goes a long way, because people will remember, unless they register to another event on the same date, they will go back again, right?
Yeah. And then they bring half the club with them. Right?
Well,
Double D.
Yeah, Double D.
Double D. Oh, that's me, yeah.
I'll see you
Mark,
next year.
I'll be there. Maybe I'll do the event next year.
What do you mean maybe?
I'll do the event. I won't be a volunteer. Maybe I'll do it.
Boy.
Oh, look at his face.
I remember that. I'll write that down.
We heard it here.
No,
2025. Dominic
2025,
abandons
resolution.
the gravel bike. He says, what the hell is a gravel bike?
I do have a gravel bike.
You have a gravel bike?
I do. Yep.
It must be very clean, because I'm sure you don't use it a lot.
We're getting very close to the end of this podcast, folks. So,
well, Nick just told us that there's 1 minute left.
No, I know.
5 minutes
Last
ago.
minute of play in this third period. Mark, before we wrap this up, I'd like to get a Dutch expression from you that we leave with our listeners, our watchers, so that they can take it and go Dutchy from now on in their training.
I guess I'll challenge you with this.
Go ahead.
I'll challenge you with this. The Dutch expression for any Dutch sports team is Hup, Holland, Hup.
Hup, Holland, hup.
I say that means go all the way.
Or
Let's
shut
go,
the
Holland,
fuck
let's
up.
go. It's like,
Or-
Okay, let's go Holland. Let's go.
let's go. Yeah. So
Okay.
it's like really, let's go.
It's
let's
what?
go.
What is it?
Hup, H-U-P.
Hup,
Hup,
Holland,
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 Hup.
Hup,
hup,
Oh.
Holland. I
So-
thought it was go to the fucking gym or something like that. lah.
Hup, Holland, Hup.
That's a
Holland,
fine print
hup.
again. Right?
Okay,
Love
very nice.
Yeah.
Mark, it's been a pleasure.
Hey,
Bef-
he's
question.
his first guest. So he's the first guest that we've had on this podcast.
He is.
So we're going to start a tradition. So it would be great if you could ask a question
yeah.
for our next guest. So one question the next guest has to answer, but it comes from the guest before.
Without knowing who that next guest will be. Because we don't
actually,
know yet. We don't even know.
We don't even know.
But whatever
Yeah.
question, if you think of it now, great. We'll
Yeah.
mention it to our listeners. Otherwise, we'll record it. And when we start our podcast with our next guest, looking forward to that next person.
Whoever that's going to be.
We'll start off the conversation
Actually,
with
our
your
criteria
question.
is very, very low.
It really is. Bring beer
So first
and
of all,
pizza.
yeah, bring beer and pizza. You have to speak English, obviously. But
That's
the
it.
second thing is just to be involved in
And it's a
the
casual
triathlon
format,
world.
folks.
And you'll be invited.
Of course, and it's very
Yeah,
casual.
first person who puts in
Little bit of
comments says,
prep.
"I'd like to go to your podcast." You're in.
And expenses are yours, by the way. So if
Yeah,
you're in the
yeah.
U.S. or anywhere in the world,
Too
and you
bad.
want to, well, yeah, unfortunately, it won't
Yeah,
happen.
but we'll take you.
But Hoop Holland,
Hup, Holland, Hup.
Hoop Holland,
Hoop Holland,
Hoop.
Hoop.
So there you go.
Hoop.
All right.
And
So
I guess the question I would ask
Go ahead.
whoever is going to be
oh,
next.
you have, my God, you
Yeah.
have it. Go, hey, go for it.
I'll
We
come
need
up-
to capture
I'll come up
this,
with a
Nick,
question.
somehow. We'll record it. Of course.
What does your sport, because I'm assuming that whoever is going to be next has done more than just triathlon. So what other sport than triathlon have you done?
Okay.
And is that sport more a cultural or an entertainment type of
Wow,
event?
interesting. Okay, I like that.
Cultural or entertainment? That's
Yeah.
a strange question. I like that.
Yeah,
But it's a
I
good
wouldn't
question.
know how to answer that.
that's the whole point.
Well,
So-
say I answered surf.
Yeah,
So that would be more of an entertainment
Of
thing because I
course,
like
yeah.
surfing.
yeah.
It's not a
well,
cultural thing because I
isn't
wasn't
it?
born with surfing.
No, and hockey
but
would be a
surf-
cultural
surfing
thing in
is
Quebec.
is a subculture.
Yeah, it's a subculture, but
It's a total subculture.
okay, so it wouldn't be entertaining.
Or
it
would
wouldn't
it?
be. A,
Or would it? Because
Okay.
riding the big wave, like how many shows have been?
yeah. Okay, I love that
You see where
question.
I go?
Hockey would
Yeah.
be cultural.
Hockey
in Quebec,
would be
in Quebec,
cultural.
of course.
Okay.
Football, soccer would be cultural for most of the European
Baseball?
countries.
Really not sure what it is.
Baseball is
Yeah,
not
but
a sport.
you're
Is baseball
from-
actually a sport?
Not to me.
I don't think
Do
so.
you think baseball is sport?
This is going downhill, folks. Sorry, but no, this is not going anywhere. No. But yeah,
I mean, most of baseball
your
players
question.
are actually sitting down the majority of the time that the sport is happening.
And chewing
Okay.
tobacco.
I mean, think about it. They're
tobacco.
chewing tobacco, they're spitting out sunflower seeds, and they're sitting down 95% of the time.
and not even on the field.
Yeah. I mean,
somewhere in
they're
a
sitting
dug-
down like
dugout?
and with a bunch of fat
it's
coaches.
been a pleasure. Thank you, Mark, for being here today. And until next time, take care of yourself and stay fit.
Stay fit, baby.